Put that thing back where it came from. Also help me. Andre Cordova.
And I'm drinking grape juice out of a teacup so I don't get cancelled. Phillip.
And welcome to Sabotage. So I'm here with a special guest, Phillip. What would you like to call yourself for the sake of this?
My name's Phillip.
Yeah. Don't want to use like your handle.
Well, my little boy drag persona is like WillowTwink on Twitter.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and on TikTok.
Inspiration for that?
Well, actually, you know Willow Pill?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what? I haven't.
Yeah.
Okay. I only got into Drag Race recently.
I want to be a WillowTwink.
That's great. I love this song, I Hate People.
Oh yeah, I hate people.
Yeah. Let's tackle the elephant in the room, which is your face. Because you look
My
like
elephant
you're 12.
face.
You know, the reason why we can't have you drinking out of one of these, because it'll get flagged by TikTok.
Well, yeah, I'm not. It's grape juice. Yeah.
Non-alcoholic. There's no
Well, I had
providing
an
promoters
issue.
here.
Like, I did a TikTok live, and it's like I had a bonsai tree. And I'm cutting the bonsai tree.
Because you had like
Well,
scissors.
it's like they're like minors doing harmful things in this video. You know, it was like, come on, you know, like they think because I'm like, I wasn't like being aggressive, you know, nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, like, what do I got to do?
Mine
you
was
know?
with sharp objects.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
use baby scissors or something.
Yeah, that does seem to be a bit of an ongoing issue at the moment. It's so easy to flag stuff on socials. And when you look like you do.
Yeah. TikTokers kind of draw inspiration from each other. So say I do a TikTok exactly like someone has done it, right? But because I do it looking so young, it's like, no, that's a minor.
Yeah, it becomes inappropriate.
Yeah. And even like I've sent email to TikTok being like, can I add my, you know, ID? Just because I don't want to keep going through this. And it's like, you have a threshold of like, I think you get strikes on Twitter and they have a threshold. After that, you've had too many strikes, they'll ban you completely. So I don't want to be like accumulating strikes for no reason when it's like, I'm clearly not a minor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, clearly
That's
to
what-
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how old you are.
I know, 24 years old. You know?
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I even had to put in my bio,
True. Yeah, you literally have to clarify it because
literally.
people assume you're fucking 16.
Well, it's
whatever.
because I'm really like short as well. I mean, I'm wearing platforms. I wear platforms everywhere. I'm so bloody fun size.
So I'm, 5'6" in height?
I like the buckles, like hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan of that.
We're gay.
All right. Pros and cons of looking so young. Before that, actually, to clarify, the subject for today, because I usually say that at the start, we're talking about OnlyFriends.
OnlyFriends here.
OnlyFriends here.
OnlyFriends here on Sabotage.
Yeah. So back to the question. Yeah, pros and cons of looking so young.
Pros is, especially in the kind of industry that I'm working, it's like, obviously, like an obvious pro.
Yeah.
You know, looking younger, you can even do it for longer. The whole kind of WillowTwink vibe, you know? And
Would you ever upgrade from WillowTwink to
WillowTwink? A Willow Daddy.
Yeah, literally.
Imagine. I could. Imagine. Well, I think cons, people don't take me seriously, you know, because, I mean, honestly, I went on like, if you could call it a date last night, right?
Yeah.
He's like really sweet guy. It's just like, I go over to his house to like cook him dinner, right? Because she can cook.
You went to someone else's house to cook the dinner.
Well, I like cooking for people, you know? It's very like grounding. Shows you've got wifey material.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. One of
like
the
subliminal messaging. I can cook.
I do love that because that is something that appeals to me. I like a guy that can cook. For sure. Continue.
Yeah, well, you know, he just like calling me boy and, you know, like baby talk. And it's kind of like,
fuck?
you know, which I don't mind, like, because it's cutesy.
Yeah, but on a
You know what I
first
mean?
date.
Well, it's kind of just like, it's not a bad thing that he's saying that. It's kind of like, I personally am like not a little boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even I have to carry my ID everywhere.
Oh yeah, same.
Like everywhere.
Same.
Like, and I'll go to clubs and I've like got it ready every time. Like I'll bring my
She's
ID
ready,
to
yeah.
like McDonald's, you know, like everywhere I have to have it.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll be like older than like some security guards. I'm like, I know, and it's funny,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like years down the track, it's just like still funny, but
A little less
it's a little
funny.
bit like ha ha, you know?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
oh, haha, for fuck's sake. Like, yeah.
I know, it's like, can I be like not a butt end of a joke sometimes? You know, like being the little
Yeah.
boy in the room,
That,
you know?
now that you mention it,
When
there
I'm
are
older than
definitely-
most people in the room sometimes. I mean, especially at ARC,
Oh, God.
you know, all the young people are going there and it's like, I'm still the little boy,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, one, there's a pro in that because it's like this attention that I can bring,
Yeah.
but it's also like, I'm not taken seriously, those kind of social settings, you know?
I think it also delves into problematic territory because I knew this already, but I could tell from some of the comments on like your TikTok videos.
Oh, yeah. I love him. I do love him. I love him.
Well, men expose
love
themselves. Let's put it like that. Because
Well,
when it
yeah.
comes to you looking underage, to be not just attracted to that, but proudly kind of.
Well, like the thing is that I am 24, you know, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
they call me cute and I love them. And it's kind of like with me, if you're communicating with me, like you should be able to like express yourself to me. My job is not to judge people. You know, it's like I have so much freedom
Yeah.
by what I do that if you're in experience with me, you should have freedom as well.
Yeah. I think the part I'm referring to though is, say for example, I remember I saw one of your TikToks and it was regarding like the age and appearance thing. And yeah, because you had said that like TikTok thinks you look too young for so and so, blah blah. And one of the comments was like, "It's not too young for me," and it's like,
Naughty.
yeah, like it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like there are a lot of guys who are just creeps out there, and I feel like you would be exposed to quite a few of them, given not just your field of work, but your appearance.
Yeah, and it's not really just, you know, online, you know.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
It's in my everyday life. I shared like a story with you earlier, you know, like this kind of thing about I was actually thinking about it on the way here. It's like, you know, like a drag queen and she's got her persona, right? She
Yeah.
dresses up and puts her stuff on.
Yeah,
Right? Me, it's like my little WillowTwink thing. It's like something I can't take off.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that is the product I'm selling, you know?
You are the product. You're
Yeah,
the face.
and then
you're
it's
the
like-
everything.
It can't be turned off like when you can just take all your drag off. You know, so then when people see me in social settings, it's kind of like this invitation to be like
Yeah.
this object sometimes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like something that I've had to, because it's so common, feel comfortable in. I was talking to like my psychologist, which I recommend everyone to see. And she's just like, you shouldn't have to feel comfortable with that. You know, I'm like, yeah,
Exactly.
but I do. It's like,
That's
'cause it's so
yeah.
common.
It's your reality.
You know?
It's your world.
It's
but
so
it's
strange.
I mean, in the sense that like it's not fair to your existence and your mental health and your just ability to fucking be alive to have to deal with something so like just permanently unnecessary. The way that, as I mentioned before, people feel entitled to your body or to touching you or to getting close to you because they think that they know you based off what they've seen, or they think that it's an invitation based off the type of work you do. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I definitely have similar experiences regarding, on one hand, the young stuff, like the not just being young, but you know, when you're Latino, guys fetishize the fuck out of you.
Oh.
I'll be out at a club, bar, whatever, and men feel entitled to like touch me when they come say hello, especially older men. And it's like, honey, no.
And it really depends. If it's something like, you know, like hello, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
on
no,
the
but they don't do
shoulder,
that, do they?
you know?
They always go like around the waist, or they try and like cop a feel of your ass or something.
It's like a kind of, well, honestly, like I had, especially when I go out, I don't let people buy me drinks because when you
Really?
No, because when you let them buy you a drink, right?
Oh no, I completely understand
It's
that
like
mentality.
you owe them
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
right?
I get
I've
that
had a
so much.
guy be like, "I'll buy you a drink," right? And I'm like, "No, I don't want a drink from you," right? Like, no, okay, well, no. And he's so pissed. I'm like, "Sure, okay, fine."
Yeah.
Right. While we're in the line, like at Universal, he's like fully just like kind of groping me, like
Fondling
my
you.
eggplant,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my god.
Right?
Oh my God.
And in my mind, I'm not even shocked. Honestly, I'm kind of standing there like, well, I knew this was gonna happen. You know what I mean? And then he's kind of doing these ones, like, I'm like,
That's
but
literal.
he's like, and I'm
like
like,
having an aneurysm, yeah.
No.
And you're like the Antichrist, yeah. I mean, that is sexual assault. That's sexual harassment. It is this entitlement that men have. I
Yeah.
totally get you. My approach is a little different though, because I know full well that men expect to be able to like make out with you or touch you if they buy you a drink. I'm aware of this. I know that that's how they think. The way that I see it is, firstly, it's a free drink. Love that. Secondly, you don't get shit. If you make the choice to buy me a drink, that doesn't mean you're getting a single fucking thing. And if you try it and I don't approve of it, I'm gonna snap your fucking wrist. Like that's how I see it.
it also depends if they're like hot.
But that's where pretty privilege comes into it, because obviously it's
or charming or something.
yeah, just
Like I had a guy, he's not exactly my type. He's like a twink. And I do prefer older guys, but he was charming. He did this thing, right? He got my palm and he was just like, yes, I see a beautiful smile, and and I'm like, oh, okay, that was smooth, because I think he's going to be serious. And he's like, ooh,
That's so funny.
And I'm like, okay.
All it took was taking your palm and pretending like he was reading it.
Yeah, it was clever.
I'm gonna lose my shit. Like, just crack up if people start doing that now. If they see this episode of the podcast and they come up to you and they just like take your hand and start fucking with it.
This is all it takes.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Destiny,
look,
baby.
charm is a whole different thing. Like but
Guys are like piss drunk and it's like they're all messy, and they're kind of just drunk and like once it's kind of like,
yeah. I think it's very interesting to note the approach of different people according to the setting and according to their own personalities. So like with you, the way that you straight up reject any free drinks, because in their minds it's not free, it's a transaction. And for me it's like, oh, I know that you think it's a transaction, but fuck you. You know, like, but that's because like, I mean, I have BPD. I'm a volatile bitch. So
borderline personality disorder.
yeah. So
my
like,
mom had that.
it's not fun. But I think if what I'm going to do is going to be perceived as aggressive regardless, just being a person of color, as soon as you act out or speak up or anything like that, people are so quick to label you as being aggressive. Then it's like, well, bitch, I'll fucking show you aggressive. At least I got a free drink out of it. But it's just a way of making it work for you.
Well, I can't
Yeah.
be aggressive. I think it's like, kind of a destructive expression, especially because I've had people be aggressive to me,
Yeah.
and it's just something that
And it's-
I can't do.
And it's very easy for them to be that way towards you because they perceive you as like small and
Well, more like,
kind of-
yeah.
Working in the field of OnlyFriends, collaborations. Who have you collaborated with? Any stories? And who do you want to collaborate with in future?
In Sydney, there's like no one. Like no one. It's so frustrating.
You know what? I kind of get that.
It's like people like just having OnlyFriends. It's like just having it isn't the same as actually doing it, like professionally and full time, or
Yeah.
marketing on Twitter. I call it marketing, but some people having a Twitter, right? It's like
It is marketing.
It's
Like, if
marketing,
you're doing it properly.
It's just like some people just do it for like attention maybe or fame.
Attention and validation.
You know, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I mean, the whole reason I started it was because I had this ex who kind of made fun of my like body, like being fat and like short and feminine. And, you know, and after that, it was like, I mean, he was like a meth addict, you know, and it was like,
yeah, it's like, who are you to talk to?
right? And, you know, to keep it on topic, it was like, I started it, you know, for like a kind of validation. Like, no, I'm not the piece of shit he says I am.
Yeah.
You know, like I have something, you know. And
you felt you had something to prove, and that's why you started.
yeah, and that's now it's got to this point, and it's, you know, there's lots of creators in Melbourne, but not really in Sydney. There's some in Queensland, but I guess there is like a pro in that way, like that when creators come to Sydney, it's just kind of me.
Yeah.
You know, and like, especially for kind of people who don't live in I mean, they think Sydney is like the capital city of Australia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, girl.
Yeah.
Shout out
Doesn't
to
quite
Canberra.
reflect. Yeah.
Right? The ACT. Like I had this couple, they know who they are. This huge couple, right? Like 300,000 followers on Twitter.
You'll have to show me who they are after. If you're not going to say their names, yeah.
I don't know.
Do it, yeah.
Well, so one of them was really chill.
Okay.
Let's just call him, I can't come up with it, Fred, okay?
Fred.
I don't know, right? Hey guys, it's no.
Yeah.
Fred, right? He was really chill. They come and wanted to work with me, right? And I'm like, oh wow, this is real? Okay, let's do it. And then his boyfriend, his name is Sebastian. I don't know. You know, I go there and Sebastian kind of has this strange vibe, you know, because when you're working with a couple, it's like you gotta make them both like you know what I mean? You can't have one feel a certain way.
Left out.
Yeah,
or,
right?
Yeah.
But that's,
excluded.
But they're huge, you know, so I'm thinking, oh, well, they're used to working like with other people.
Yeah.
Right? And man, like Sebastian like taking photos of me, making me look like shit. And like, you know, Fred's looking great. And I'm like, nah. And then every time I made something, it was like great with both of us.
Yeah.
And long story short, like Fred, he's like getting stressed out and he like can't get hard, you know? And he says to me like, you know, oh, so it's they're German, you know, so, oh, is it okay if like, you know, Sebastian's not in the room with us, you know, like, and I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, you know, I'd feel more comfortable, you know, I'm like, okay, you know,
so
like
he doesn't
this
want
is
his
his partner, right?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
so
okay,
weird.
right? And then Sebastian's in the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Just in the bedroom and we're in the living room and we kind of do our work, right? It's for like an hour, you know. And then I wanted to take them out to Oxford Street and all the Sydney gay clubs.
Oh, so they came here.
Yeah. So this
When
is
you
like a
collaborated,
town hall
yeah.
or something, right? And honestly, I told them like, well, if you don't want to do this, we don't have to. Like I was just happy to take you out to clubs, right? But, you know, we did it. And then Sebastian didn't come. And I took Fred out and showed him all the drag queens and, you know, like, and he's funny, he's like in Germany, they're like, oh, we don't have drag queens in Germany, you know, it's like in Munich, there's maybe like 2 or 3, you know, it's very underground, you know, so this is really like, wow, you know, like culture shock for them, you know, it's like, well, Sydney is like one of the gayest cities in the world, you know, wow, you know, right, it's like a great time, right, real culture shock. And we're messaging like Sebastian, like, come out, you know, like come, right, he's like, yeah, I'll come, he doesn't come, and it's like 2:30, we go back to the Airbnb. He'd barricaded the door with the Airbnb's furniture, like the chairs, even got the TV.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Right? I'm like, oh, wow. I wish I filmed it. Honestly.
We could put the footage up. Like,
right? Like, wow, you know. And they're arguing and, you know, you have to go get hotel now. You can't stay here, you know. And Fred's like,
wow.
Oh, well, okay, Phillip, we go get hotels. No, you're not going to hotel. You know, you're going to stay here now. And then they're arguing in the hallway.
It's like, it sounds like.
Well, then they're arguing in German and Fred's like, we'll translate sometimes. So I'm kind of just standing there. Like, you know, when a couple's fighting, you're kind of just like, right?
Yeah, it's very awkward.
Yeah, it's so awkward. And He's like, oh, he's mad that we have so much fun, and on the couch, and then you go out, you have so much fun, and he was jealous, right?
Yeah.
But there is some context to it. It's like Germany actually was coming after creators, right? They were actually going to take down their Twitter, and he's like,
Really?
yeah, this huge following, and they make so much money off it to have this kind of thing just blow up for just Germany, just being in Germany. They're having some of their friends like getting arrested and stuff,
Fuck.
for just making that content.
Being persecuted as sex workers or for being gay?
For their OnlyFriends content.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't. Twitter was doing just in Germany, no adult content on Twitter, right? And I mean, I've even have some creators that my agent manages, which I'll meet in a few weeks. They can't even go into America.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it's like classified as escorting sex work, making like OnlyFriends and Twitter. Like I wouldn't call it sex work. You know what I mean?
It's not.
It technically is, right? But
It's not escorting though. That's like
Definitely
that's a
escorting.
totally different thing. And I think a lot of people don't know how to differentiate between the two. So they just label it as, kind of a...
Yeah, well, it's not like, I'm meeting some fucking like a beast bald fucking 60-year-old and fucking them. You know what I mean? It's like I'm here like at home with my iPhone, like just by myself.
You're like, I'm just playing with myself.
Like it's like
Not hurting anybody.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like it's hard for me to call it. I mean, technically it is. It's like I call it adult content.
It's adult content.
It's not like sex work.
That makes
to me,
sense. Yeah.
right?
That makes sense.
So I'm going to the UK in a few weeks, whatever
Some
time
upcoming
you're watching this now.
plans. Oh yeah, chances are he'll have already been plowed by like 20 guys. Was
Right,
it?
check out.
By the time this airs, yeah.
Right. Hopefully with 10-inch top, right? He's this huge guy in London and 1 million followers. This huge, like some of the most well-known gay porn stars don't have 1 million followers, right?
Yeah.
And I message him, right, being like he's not gonna message back, right? And then he sends like a thing. He's like, "Oh, thanks, son." And like, like, thanks, son. Yeah, I'd love to work with you, right? And I'm like, this day, and I'm like, okay, cool, And then he's like, oh wait, he messages me back, where I'm like, I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And then he's like, oh, actually, I'm not in London that week. Fuck, like it would have just blown up. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be in Manchester the following week. So, it's
You just
closer
threw
than
it out
Sydney,
there.
right? Well,
You're like,
fuck.
you were sussing it out, yeah.
Right? Because that's like life-changing collaboration,
With a following like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
You do pretty well yourself.
Yeah.
As is.
Yeah. To do a lot by myself is insane. But now it's gotten to this point where I got an agent, and it's kind of, because in Sydney, there's just no one. And the market is in Europe and it's in America.
It is.
So you have to go. You have to go leave Sydney and go to Europe. You have to go to America. I don't even know if I'll be let into America, but go to Europe. That's where all the big creators are, because you need to collaborate. Like doing it by myself has gotten me to this point where you reach a threshold where you have to collaborate with other people. Otherwise, it's just going to stagnate.
It's the only way to expand your audience.
100%, because it's a business. And if you're not kind of pushing yourself and making things consistently and trying to just not just do the same old stuff, and be boring. Like you gotta
get creative,
right? Yeah, get creative. And if you don't do that, you will go backwards in your business. So
very wise words.
Well, I know. I mean,
it's good. Like it's very insightful. Like okay, we'll touch on this now.
Your turn.
Just because
Why don't you do it?
Okay, well, all right. He's brought it up now. Yes, I do it anonymously. So does 10-inch top though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an excellent example. No face.
Yeah.
He has a face.
it's just I think we all could have gathered that. Yeah,
no face, man. He's doing great.
Fucking slender man over here.
Honestly, I've seen people with colostomy bags and milky eyes and doing great,
But
anyone can do it.
But success does, like, it is affiliated with the color of your skin, because majority of those guys looking the way that they do, or getting away with looking the way that they do, happen to be white. Especially in the gay community, where the beauty standard,
and anyone that's not white is like fetishized like completely.
Yeah, and it well, to the point where it's like, well, you can be equally as attractive, but you'll be shunned by so many outright purely because you're not a white guy. So that's the other side of the coin there, because it's like, yes, I do it and I do it anonymously, and that's fine. Got a side thing going, and no, I'm not going to provide the link for anybody. That's
provide it. On my TikTok.
You know what's so funny? I've got like on my Insta and with TikTok as well, I don't remember. I've got a link tree with like all my links and stuff, and one of them is Twitter, but it's like my regular Twitter, which I like never use because I fucking hate it. No, but the number of clicks to the Twitter because people were hoping it was going to be an alt is so fucking funny, because I checked the statistics. A lot of people clicked that over the other ones. Yeah, and it's like, well, that content is out there. I'm just not going to give it to you myself.
You get way more clicks on Twitter because it's people want fucking freebies.
Yes.
You know?
I don't have an OnlyFriends link in my link tree, obviously, because I'm anonymous.
Why not?
I'm anonymous.
But
this is not clicking for you. I have to do it anonymously.
What do you mean? Oh, so does your link tree have other business things in it?
It's got all my socials. It's got my Spotify. It's got my music. It's got like YouTube, everything else.
Why wouldn't you want to put your OnlyFriends on?
Because I don't show my face on that. People don't know who I am on OnlyFriends.
Oh, so you don't want... So why do you do it then? You know, why do you do it as a business, you know?
See, so this is the discussion where it's like anonymous versus public, the differentiation between them, because I have to market it as an individual entity. I do it completely separate to everything else that I do, simply because I do not show my face, right? So I can't advertise it alongside my music, the podcast, etc.
Why wouldn't you want to, though?
I do want to, like partially, sort of. Like I've just always been...
You don't want to connect, you know, your music and all this.
It's a bit more complex with that, because it's like, for the longest time, the way the society has perceived sex and profession.
Like Cardi B has one.
Yeah.
Azalea has one.
But that's...
Like China. In this time, you can do it.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But that rule exists for people who are already celebrities. People who already have a fan base. People who already have become famous in their own right. So starting off that way, especially being a person of color, there are so many more things to consider. And being in this position where it's like, I have a hard enough time being taken seriously in music because I do not adhere to one genre. I like to experiment. I like to be creative. I like to do different things. That's how I found out that I was also a rapper. It was only because...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like one day I felt inspired to write a rap track. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And then I tried it. It's like one of my most streamed songs.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, the problem though is that in the music industry, especially in Australia, where it's not nearly as influential or massive as the US or the UK, like they are so anal about like putting you into a specific box. They don't like that I'm a Latino who doesn't exclusively do Latin music. They don't like that I'm a gay guy who doesn't exclusively do like club EDM music.
Yeah.
These are the obstacles that I already have to overcome and deal with, etc.
But it sounds like you also have a personal obstacle to overcome because like there are artists that you know.
No, I know that there are. Right? But it's like,
do you draw inspiration, you know, from them? Or
part of me has honestly considered, and I'm still considering, just being open about it, not giving a fuck. I have a hard enough time already. Like, is it going to make a difference?
But more like the whole being Latino and the whole gay thing, you know, it's kind of like there are artists that they don't go into that box, right?
Sort of.
No?
Especially with being like a gay singer, for example, majority of them, they hit an end point. Like purely from being gay, being part of the LGBTQ plus community, their audience can only go so far in terms of their appeal. So the simple fact that I'm refusing to define myself as a gay artist, but rather an artist who happens to be gay and Latino and disabled, etc., like that's opening me up to so much more in terms of the audience. Because like if you look at any artist that defines themselves as a gay artist, they get stuck at a certain point. They can't become more famous beyond that. They can't exceed their popularity beyond that. And I think that that's like something that society isn't really willing to acknowledge or address, but I've been very aware of.
I think like that uniqueness is your superpower. You know?
Absolutely. The thing is
100%.
though, like you've got people being the gatekeepers of music and being the gatekeepers of like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to help you access this audience because you're doing something different. You're too unique. You're too different. Like,
Yeah, you know, and I've got like this one dude in mind, right? Have you heard of Santi?
no.
You know, he's got that song, Put It On. It's so good. Okay, it's so good, right? And he's like from Puerto Rico, you know, but he does like club cunt music. you
Yeah.
know? So, and he's like the stereotype, like muscly dude, like gay as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So I can see
look,
where you're coming from.
Yeah.
If your music's not club cunt and you're like a muscle gay dude, it's like
It's as much as people complain about stereotypes, they really want you to be one. They really push you to be one because people just love to label you one way or another. And that's why you have so many, like, I mean, to get into the more political side, like people who can't fathom the idea of like trans, for example. It's like, oh, you're a man or a woman, like, or like non-binary, etc. Because they just, they freak out when they can't put you into a box. And the same applies to music. The same applies to even doing something like OnlyFriends.
Are you going to accept what other people say, you know, or are you going to keep pushing for what you believe in?
That's why I do what I do with my music.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still creating like all kinds of stuff, regardless of the fact that I'm not going to receive support from, you know, Australian outlets like Triple J, etc. They fucking hate me.
They do?
They do. It's
Why?
it's a whole other thing. Can't get into
my
it right now.
God.
But they're
What
not,
did you
they're not a
do?
fan. I didn't do anything other than not adhere to a stereotype. That's what that is. It's that fucked up. Anyway, something you were saying earlier was that it's a business at the end of the day.
Gotcha. Oh, yes. Well, it's kind of like, I already mentioned this before about like, well, no, I didn't. It's like, so I mentioned drag queens, but I didn't mention it like this. It's kind of like, you know how drag queens have drag mums?
Yes.
Right? So I am like, am I a porn mom or a porn dad? You know? Right? And I have all my porn disciples. All right. Not disciples,
so
but, you know, my
curious to
porn
know who
children.
they are.
Right?
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
And I tell all of them, you know, it's like, if you aren't going to work hard for this, don't do it. You know, if you're not going to consistently make content, you're not going to make money off this. You know,
exactly.
if you're not going to market on Twitter and market on Instagram and market on TikTok, like who you are and your personality and, you know, and then consistently post on your OnlyFriends. I post every day. Huge amount of work. It's full time. And it's like people who think like, oh, just if I have a Twitter.
That's enough.
Right? Or if I have an OnlyFriends, it's like, yeah, you have those things, but it doesn't mean
that you're suddenly going to develop an audience or be able to make money off it because, I mean, who's going to find it?
You're just doing it for fun. You're just doing it
doing
as
it for
a
the heck
hobby.
of it, for the sake of it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, it's been a year now, and it's only now gotten me to a point where I can actually quit my job and do it full time.
Yeah.
You know, and even like Sydney and Australia, it's just so small, the kind of market.
Yeah.
And you have to, even in music, like you have to go to the US, you have to go to Europe, you know, because in Australia, it's just like,
It's limited.
we're just like a chill, laid back people, you know, and that's not who I am, you know, like I believe like pressure makes diamonds, you know, and when you put yourself under a certain amount of pressure,
Good point.
you will achieve things that like you wouldn't even realize you achieved, you know.
Yeah.
like, so this is before I become like full time. I started last year, right? And I only wanted to make like $15,000, right? It was like,
Which you make like
right?
monthly now.
I made 50,000 last year. And it's just like that idea of like, you really don't understand that you have like, people have these things inside of them and they wouldn't like believe that there are these blessings out there, like things you can't even fathom. If you just try, if you just
absolutely.
if you put yourself under a certain amount of pressure, you will achieve more than you can conceive.
Yes.
You know? I only want to make 15 and I made way more of that. And now it's a new year and I've got like an agent and it's, you know, and if you just keep going, you know, I've had some really fucked up knockbacks as well, which I'm like, fuck, it's like traumatic and I don't want to talk about it now, but it's kind of like, you don't let things knock you down, you know, and you keep going, right? It's not like I did this as like, this is my dream to do this, you know, I kind of fell into it. And now I feel like
it was a calling,
right? It's like, God has given me this kind of blessing, you know, and he's giving me this path and he's going like, or they are going. Right.
Or she's going.
Right.
Let's trigger everybody.
Right, you know. Right?
Yeah.
And they're going like, you know, do or don't do.
Yeah.
You know? I don't have to do this.
You know, the way
But
that
it's like, I would rather.
The way that I see it as well, if you don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah, and you know, like especially with like, man, you see AI, like AI can make people look so crazy realistic. It's like, I gotta do it now, or there's in a few years.
You're gonna lose your job.
Right? It's a huge threat.
Lose your job,
you know, even for like music artists.
Oh yeah.
You know?
No, the number of like TikToks I've seen, people have used AI to
right, like those
sing a
Kanye
track.
West ones.
Well, like we'll sing a track with a particular artist's voice, and it sounds like them.
Right?
And
it's a huge threat. It's like you gotta put yourself under more pressure than ever right now.
Yes.
Like right now, otherwise you're gonna miss
Well,
it.
my whole mentality is like you can always be doing more.
I was watching this show on Netflix called How to Get Rich, right? And this financial advisor was like going to these people and asking like, what is your rich life? You know, like having a rich life doesn't mean, you know, living in a 10-bedroom mansion and having a chauffeur and a butler, right? Like some people maybe want to spend more time with their kids or like
personal definition,
right? And then my rich life is honestly, it's like to have like a little home, a little sanctuary that I can come home to, you know, like a home, you know, a foundation, security in that way. And like I want like a big garden because I studied horticulture, funny enough, right?
That's so cute.
I was such a plant daddy.
Yeah.
All right.
That's so good.
Right. And like I want to have my big veggie patch and my fruit trees and do that and grow roses for like my essential oils, you know, like right. That is my rich life. And you know, like I didn't decide to, my dream isn't to be a porn star, but it's like, you know,
your dream isn't to suck dick. It's,
it was like this path that was laid to me by God, you know, this blessing, you know, and it's to get that dream, you know. And I recommend it to everyone because we live in this crazy technological age that you can make so much money through technology. And especially because pictures and videos, you know, you don't need a warehouse and it's global, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I recommend it to everyone, especially like girls. Honestly, they make 10 times more than what guys do because it's only guys paying for it.
Yeah. Men are your audience because they're a bunch of fucking simps. And, and you know, being gay, our audience is smaller naturally because only so many of a percentage in the world of men are attracted to other men. So as a woman, that's where you fight the patriarchy. That's where you take advantage and you make it work for you rather than suffering at the cost of it.
Well,
I think
it's like, yeah, it's still a bit of a taboo thing, but not as it was like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago.
Regarding support, because the difference as well is that I've got a lot of variables to consider, whereas you've got like, you're more of a lone wolf, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
So I feel like that does make a big difference with that deciding factor of, oh, I'm going to go public with this. And, you know.
Well, it was like, you know, that couple,
Yeah.
Fred and Sebastian.
Very, like, it sounds like a lot of emotional insecurity, but yes.
We did a reel, like a TikTok and a reel, and they tagged my personal account.
Really?
So it kind of was just like, oh shit, like all this exposure, I need to have my link tree and then it's like I got my aunties and my cousin and my uncle and my personal, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm not giving up this opportunity, you know. And then I set up a work one after and threw me into it a bit, like even like with my dad as well. Like I had this I don't want to talk about it, but it was just like this really traumatic thing happened where I had a hater dob me in for some like content I made, right? Which we might get into the second episode, but then I had to tell my dad about it, you know, and he grew up in like a Macedonian communist country, you know, and for him to kind of just not judge me at all and just be like, you know, like, you're 24 years old, like I can't tell you what to do, you know. Right.
I love that.
So it's like, I know what it feels like to be like your family and even friends, like, or people from high school or your work colleagues, you know. But it's like, if you can push through that shame barrier, I think you need to be selfish sometimes. And I don't say, like, selfish is not a negative word,
it's not.
You know. No. It's like, if you want to live your dream and live your rich life with this opportunity through technology that the world is giving you now, you have every right to go do it, you know, and buy a little house with like a veggie patch and shit, or whatever your rich life might be. Like I'm buying my dad like furniture and shit like that, you know. I'm buying like my family like the best Christmas presents.
I could maybe afford to like buy us a little table for the podcast.
You know? People's birthdays, you know, like wedding presents and shit.
Yeah,
you know? It's like,
God, especially living in Sydney with how expensive everything is.
So in Sydney, and I feel blessed to have had this happen to me, and I feel like sometimes it's like I need to share this experience with people, because it's like, if I could do this, you know, like, not to talk bad about myself, but it's like, if this little gay boy who like isn't the standard big muscly dude that can make this.
Oh, but you're the flip side of it though.
You know, well, it's like anyone can do it. I mean, the guy with the fucking colostomy bag did it. Like, you know, why can't I do it? Why can't you do it? You know? There's no one telling me how to do this in Sydney. This isn't a conventional job.
No.
You know, in Sydney especially, there's no one that does it here. It's like no one's telling me the rights and the wrongs, and it's like I'm a little guinea pig, you know. And now that I've gone through all these experiments, I can share with people, like, through my mistakes and through my rights and wrongs, like, this is how you can do it successfully, you know?
Yeah.
Successfully.
To wrap up, I guess, I do think that this is like a surprisingly extended topic, that it may require a part 2. I don't know. Do you want to see more of WillowTwink, Phillip? I've had so much fun with this. Yeah.
We've only just scratched the surface, really.
Yeah. But to say as well, like, you love the podcast enough.
Oh god, yeah.
To reach out and be like, hey, I want to be on it. I want to go. That was so cute. I fucking love that.
I probably look like shit because you got the good angle. This is my good side.
Bitch.
You're like, did your hair all nice and shit?
Don't give me that shit. You look good from any angle. Don't give me that crap.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're just saying that because you want some wine.
I do think this is part 1 of OnlyFriends with Phillip,
OnlyFans and business and more.
You said the word. You're not allowed to say.
Oh no, I'm cancelled.
I got posted on TikTok. God damn it. Let's cheers to a successful random episode of season 2.
Quality BPA.
Quality content. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. This has been Sabotage.
An Agile show, not yours.
God say
Copyright issue there.
Shit, if that's copyrighted, I'm gonna get fucked.
Shit.
Yeah.
We got it. Way too many people.
Like an audience.
Yeah, right? And they come and join, they sit all on the couch, and it just turned to this big mess. You know, and then I just start showing him I'm like, no, you need to do it like this guy. Like how he's like just got
Keep it
one
simple.
guest
Yeah.
or two maximum. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Because it's like that flow won't be broken by friends coming in later and sitting on the couch. And
Yeah, what the fuck?
yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. So I'm like using you to like inspire him. Like, do like this. Yeah.
That's great. I'm not usually sinking into this couch, and I feel like I am. It's uncomfortable.
It's all that gym.
Yeah, I
you've been
know.
doing.
Yeah, probably.
I'm gaining some muscle.
Some gains.
I want to come closer.
You can.
But it's like,
I'll point the other way. You, you can just point it.
I'm not like.
Season 2 is officially chaotic.